And good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for Wednesday afternoon of Thoroughbred Action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our studio on the mezzanine level here at Hawthorne Racecourse. Emily, a nice day for racing today. 7 race card, 4 of them on the turf. Odd races on the turf, even races on the main track, but it's a good card today from top to bottom.
It really is. It's a solid betting card, and we are having to bet today, so we did have to kind of put some bets in, but it's great weather today. A little bit warm, but there's a good breeze, not too hot. Perfect racing weather. You're
going to have to fill me in throughout the course of the day on your wagers as we place the wagers for Bernie's Book Bank, because we're going to do this opportunity, or take this opportunity, as we've partnered up with Bernie's Book Bank this August to do bets for books. So we're trying to put books into the hands of Chicagoland kids. And each and every day here in the month of August for our live racing card, we're each going to place $100 in wagers. I went just one horse, one race, but you said you're jumping all over the place today, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on the card, right? Because
Okay.
when you're betting, it gets away from like the subjective area of it. And yeah, so I took a few shots. There really wasn't anything that I felt really strong on, you know, in order to make a bet at a price. So there was a couple favorites that I thought maybe there were some opportunities around them, and kind of just hoping to get lucky, taking a more of a gambling approach today than a handicapping one.
Well, I can't wait to hear the wagers throughout the course of the day, because it is a really good card and we're trying to help out a great cause there. But a fast main track, firm turf course today. Only 2 more days out in lane 3 on the turf, which means the farthest out rail setting after that, we move in 10 feet for Sunday. And then 2 weeks there, another 10 feet in for the final week of the season. And on Sunday, we do have the mandatory payout in the high five, so it's not a jackpot high five Sunday because we're paying mandatory on it. So race number 7 Sunday, it's a 10-horse field on the grass. Carryover's over $185,000, Emily, so it's a nice carryover, definitely something worth going after for the players.
And I heard from a little birdie it's going to be a big full field, so love that, especially when there's that high five opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it. Probably that will be my Bernie's book bankroll will be spent on the high five, trying to hit it. And hopefully I'm the only ticket.
Well,
but if I'm not, I'm okay with sharing that with our community.
That would be a lot of books for the kids. That would be very awesome. They have 2 million books on site, so it would be very cool. So we'll see what happens. But again, that's going to go as race 7 on Sunday. We just drew that card today, so I'll be going up to work on the morning line shortly after we do the pre-race show here. But let's jump into the racing action here today. As Emily, each and every day here at Hawthorne, 12% takeout, win, play, show wagering, 15% takeout, pick 5s and pick 4s. And as I mentioned, odd races are turf, even races dirt. So race number 1 today, 5/8 of a mile on the turf, $15,000 maiden scratch, the 1 Gladys Alice. Be My Bestie, I expected to be 1 to 5. I was close to laying this horse even shorter than the 3 to 5 morning line that I did, but there was another Revelli in there, which was the only reason I didn't. But Be My Bestie is going to be a very heavy favorite. I think hard to beat, but you said you're going to try to, it looks like, to maybe pull off the upset, huh?
And this will be my first bet of the day, because I had to take a shot, right? Figured this horse would be 1 to 5, and if you look at the race on paper, she does. She looks like the horse to beat. She's run the faster numbers in the field, competitive races on the turf, finding a subtle class drop, makes her very logical in here, and I thought if there was just maybe one horse that could kind of step up, it would be the unknown.
Okay.
And that's number 2, Bonita Del Oro, one that they'd been looking to get on the turf since before the debut. They ended up running on the dirt at Ellis Park first out, and then ran 2 turns on the turf at Horse Indianapolis, but tough to know what happened because there was a layoff.
Right.
There's been a barn change since. There's steady works, and I just think this is a horse that's had intention to run on the turf, obviously finding class relief out of those maiden special weight races, that if she pops up, this could be just that unknown factor, and so win bet to start it off here.
I did put her in the mix. I like the consistent workout pattern coming into the return here. I like the turn back to the sprint and the class drop. So a lot of things line up for a horse that's actually pretty well bred for this 3-year-old filly. Brian Cook's had himself a decent meet. Some horses have been running a little bit better over the course of the last couple of weeks too. So I do have that one in the mix. I thought the 6 Get Out of My Kitchen could be a little bit of a factor as well. The races at 5/8 at least showed a little bit of speed, so might be able to push Be My Bestie along. I do think Be My Bestie is winging it, probably goes out there, tries to make every call a winning one on the front end. We're just going to have to find out. But like you said, when you're looking at 1 to 5, it's kind of hard to make that determination. Do you go that route and say, I'm taking the free spot there, or are you going to look elsewhere? So Be My Bestie, a heavy favorite there in race number 1. Race 2 today starts at 50-cent early, pick 4 wager. We go 5.5 furlongs, scratch the 3. Cramden, that one's a re-entered. Put Abel Escano on the 4. Chopper, field of 6 in this spot, Emily. I know you gave a little bit of a look to the inside and the outside with Chicks for Free and a mud island in this spot. So let's start with Chicks for Free on the inside.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of part 2 of that first bet where I ended up playing a pick 3, using the 2, singling the 1 in here. As far as Chicks for Free, just seems very logical. Finding some class relief, had run well here, has consistent speed figures, has the right running style, and I just think made a lot of sense in this spot. So instead of playing a win bet or maybe doing some doubles, just kind of anchored in the middle part of a pick 3.
Yeah, and I'll tell you with Chicks for Free, I mean, the horses had success over the racetrack. Faced them better at FanDuel. Back here to Hawthorne today, and this is a much easier test than what the horse has been facing. I do have him in the mix. The 5.5 furlongs was the reason I went to the 4 Chopper. Chopper's an all or nothing type of horse. He wings it from the get-go. He tries to clear. If he can clear off the 2 Tisric, then I think he has a chance to take him the whole way around. If he can't clear, he may back out of it and end up finishing 5th or 6th in there. So Abel Liscano picking up the call. I'm going to go to Chopper, just see if this one can get away quickly and make the top and make every call a winning one. Just searching for a little bit more of a price there in race number 2. Third race on the card, we go 1 mile on the firm turf course, $15,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. This is a good field here. Field of 9 to line up in this spot. Emily, I know you started with Summer Bell, but you covered multiple horses, one of them being the horse I have on top, the 1 Be a Bolt Runner. But let's start with Summer Bell, and then we will work from there.
Yeah, actually I ended up not including Summer Bell in my bets in this race, but I think that she's very logical. And this is just kind of the difference between like handicapping and betting, right? Because you're looking at it from a handicapping standpoint. She's very logical, taking the class relief, back down to a claiming spot where she's been competitive in the past, finding a slight change in distance, which is in her favor. So a lot of things line up, but she doesn't have that much of an edge over some of the others in this field. And just with that said, maybe that slight layoff, she's giving up some recency coming off the 2-month break. There were some others in here that I thought were a price, and Be a Bolt Runner. My real only knock on her was the layoff, because otherwise I think that she could win this race. I mean, she's strong. So I actually went with the 2. Is the horse I ended up using.
Monster,
Izzy's Monster is just one that, going back to her races from earlier on when she was on the dirt and those races taken off, I just thought she was a router and I thought she was a turf horse. And she's finally getting those 2 conditions today where she's able to go 2 turns on the turf for the first time. The barn change doesn't seem like that can hurt, but no knock on the prior connections. I just think it's one of those that she's finally getting the right surface and distance and could definitely pop up in this spot.
Yeah, I remember I liked this horse in that last out too, and Free Love ran a good race, made the top there and took him the whole way around. Ravelli very good off the claim as well. Izzy's Monster will actually be a decent price in this spot as well. I went to the 1 Be a Bolt Runner. I like the return to turf. I think the horse is better on the grass. I think there's enough pace to chase in this spot. This is a horse that you won't see much of early on. Going to settle back, try to come running at him late in the lane. But Lilia Gonzalez has had a pretty good meet. A lot of runners have come in and run good races. It's a consistent work pattern towards the return. And I just think with the right trip, this is a horse that could come charging late. John Heron had a horse flying in the finale the other day, and the horse just had all sorts of trouble. It was getting tipsy, I believe was the name of the horse. Had all sorts of trouble and still came flying to finish second. I think Be a Bolt Runner is that same type of runner. Settle back early on, make that one move, and we'll see if the move is good enough there in race number 3. 4th race on the card, we're going to scratch the 2. That's Elliott Ness, field of 6 in this spot. They go 6.5 furlongs, $13,500 starter optional company. You can look a lot of different ways in this spot. I know you had started on top with West Warpath, but I know you had a few different horses that you looked to in here. Just kind of comes down to what the price scenarios are going to be in this race as well.
Yeah, and the pace scenario as well. I think the pace is going to be contentious. I mean, Shackelford Strong is one that he does have some versatility, but I think in today's race shape with the draw is going to be forwardly placed, and the same thing with 2 Worlds up there. So the pace should be honest, and the distance being 6.5 maybe is a little bit of an equalizer in here. So I thought both those horses, they could beat each other up. They could get into a duel early. There's a couple of others in here that aren't too far off number-wise. First Mazamoon being one of those, has some sneaky good races. At today's 6.5 distance, coming out of those route races, but actually has a winning race, that B Optics grade back on June 1st, cycling back, and that 3rd start off should be sitting on that effort today. And then the same thing, it's a form cycle angle with West Warpath. He's coming off a second start of the form cycle, which has been a positive in the past. That's when he ran that 86 Optics figure here back on May 18th, and that race wins this. So I thought those 2 could get the trip and could be in the right part of their form cycle.
Yeah, West Warpass had good races over the course of this meet as well. Runs for the new barn here today. We'll see how things unfold. I did like Shackelford Strong in this spot. This is a horse that the last couple have been good. 3 of the last 4 have been very solid. Likes the track. One time at the distance, it was a victory. You're right. It kind of comes down to what happens with 2 worlds. If those 2 choose to go out there and challenge each other, I think one's going to go. I think the other is going to track, and it could be 1-2 the whole way around as well. We'll see what we get price-wise. The key for me really was the scratch of Elliot Ness, because that was the other one that could have tossed a little bit of pace into the race. So with that one out there, it leaves you down to 2. So sometimes when there's 2 in there, sometimes they duke it out. Other times they don't. We'll see how things unfold there, but I am going to look to Shackelford Strong in race number 4. 5th race on the card goes about 7.5 furlongs on the firm turf course. Allowance runners in this spot. Both Frank Randazzo horses are out of here. The 2 Ornery Angel and the 3 Miss Kitty Pie, along with the MTOs, 10 Dialed Inna and 11 Sally's Surprise. So it leaves you with a field of 7 in the spot. And Chris Block has the horses on the 2 outside draws, but on box office was the one I liked a little bit more, and I know you gave this one a little bit of a look to as well.
Yeah, one of the other bets that I played today was a pick 4, and there's one of the tickets that I played. I singled on box office. I did a backup with them, I owe Uncle Mo, just because I think there'd be just a change in, as far as price and not that far off. But on box office is the most kind of accomplished, even though she did just break her maiden. It was impressive. The races prior to that were both good, so she fits at this level. And then as far as I owe Uncle Mo, I just don't think that was the right trip last out. She made that positive physical impression once again. Both you and I noted that from her debut and last out. And she just was on hold. She was ranked, and just things did not go as planned that day. So they're going to come back, and I think she's just worth another chance. But those 2 for me.
Yeah, and looking at kind of the pace setup of that race, I remember back to that race on June the 21st, there were a couple others that kind of winged it out there, and I think I owe Uncle Mo wanted to get into the race, couldn't do so, kind of just sat behind, and then just almost looked like the horse got irritated more than anything else.
Yeah, it's like almost one of those that, like, it's not a full excuse where you see that, like, trouble and they check hard, but it's almost at the same time where you know that's not the type of trip where a horse is going to run their best.
Yeah, exactly. And in here, I think Free Love goes out and shows speed. Visionista goes out and shows speed. So I'm with you. I like on box office. I think this is a horse that gets a great trip. Just settles mid-pack early on, runs at him in the lane. There's only 7 in this spot, so I don't think they have to worry about being caught too wide into that first turn. We'll see what kind of a price we get. I do expect they'll be bet down. Wanda Strong's been ultra consistent over the course of those recent starts as well, too. So I think that's a horse worth looking to in the mix, but on box office for me as well in race number 5. 6th race on the card, $40,000 optional claiming allowance runners. They go 3/4 of a mile. This is a good race here. You have some horses that have been duking it out before at this level in the past. I like WW Hotshot quite a bit in this spot, but I know you gave a look to the horse coming in from Ellis Park in Derby Date, and then as well as another one from Ellis Park in Life is Hard. So it's a couple of the new shooters in this spot.
Yeah, it's, as you said, it's a competitive race, and Derby Date is going to come in for Contreras, who's been sending out some live runners in a limited sample and looks well intended for this event. It's a second start on the year, strong published works. He exits a contentious 32 claiming event at Ellis Park on June 15th, so it's more of a lateral move coming into this spot. They've been looking for a similar optional claiming event to run in. There was a scratch on June 21st or July 21st at Horseshoe Indianapolis, looking to get on as a main track only, and those races stayed on the turf. So it just seems like the barn has been pointing their horses to the right spot. This one fits. And then number 6, Life is Hard. He can also be upgraded. He's going to make the second start of the current form cycle out of another contentious event at Ellis Park. Gray Streak came out of that race. Gray Streak finished 4th. He came back here and won on the main track, going wire to wire. Totally changed everything up that day and ran a big race. And just in addition to the circuit switch, the distance change is also in his favor. So I think both those horses fit.
The pace should be very quick once again. The pace was very quick the last time that a WW Hotshot ran, or I guess it was 2 starts back the time when WW Candy won that race, and the horse still hung around late. But you look at here, I mean, Gila could show speed. Cam Mandu most likely is along with Malpais, so we'll be curious to see how things unfold. Derby Date, yeah, Cipriano, a longtime assistant to trainer Mike Rivas, knows the Chicago circuit here very well. I like the placement of this horse, and I think you'll get a decent price there. So see how things unfold. I'm just hoping WW Hotshot's quickest to the front, and if the horse is and the track's playing the right way, maybe goes around there and takes them all the way around in race number 6. In the finale, 5.5 furlongs on the firm turf. Starter optional company in here. $10,000 is the tags. Take out the 2. Time has come. take out the 10, enjoy the music. Time Has Come pulls a lot of the pace out of this race here, Emily. It's a field of 8. When I looked at your analysis for here, you had a whole lot of names written down, so there were a whole lot of different horses that I know you were looking to. I saw a 1, a 6, a 7, a 4, and a 3, so I'm going to let you kick it off with whomever you want to talk about here.
I tried to prioritize it, and at that time, I actually used 3, so if I'm still alive in the pick 3, I'll use a little bit heavier 1 and 6, and then also throwing the 7 in. And Dragon Drew is just one. He's been so unlucky to get on the turf. His best races are on the turf. You mentioned the scratch. That probably helps him. When he's on the turf, he has more early speed. He's drawn on the inside. So could be a threat on the front end. Blazing Road is just kind of a crazy idea because I think this horse is a turf horse and going to get that opportunity in here. So if he pops on the surface, this would be the time because it's going to be a big price. And then Channel 1 is another one that just has turf sprint form. And coming off the trip last out at Canterbury Park on July 16th, he broke slow. He had trouble at the start. He had trouble in running, and it was still a competitive race to finish 4th, still earning that B- optics grade. So he's just an obvious upgrade coming out of that race.
Yeah, and Tanner Tracy's been sending some horses back here, and they've been running well. So I like the intent. Of course, you don't have the turf at Prairie Meadows, so they tried Canterbury. Come over here to Hawthorne today. The horse definitely does fit. I do have that one second. Grand Hideaway was the horse I went to on top. I thought that was a really big effort in that last out. Luis Colon rode each of those last 2 starts. You look, the last 3 victories for this horse on the turf, Colon in the saddle. So I just think it's the right fit. I think the horse has tactile speed, and I think you'll get a decent trip. So going to be Grand Hideaway for me in the finale. All right, that's how we see the 7 races here today. Again, odd races are turf, even races are dirt. And let's flip back to race number 1 as we take a look at the field for the opener. So in the first, we offer Win Play Show, Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta, Double Pick 3 and Pick 5. Wagering $15,000 maidens go 5/8 of a mile on the firm turf course. Scratch the 1, Gladys Alice. Field of 7, Emily. We'll start by taking a look at the 3. That is Be My Bestie. 2 to 5, a heavy favorite in this spot, comes from the barn of trainer Larry Ravelli, and the horse is a deserving favorite in here today.
Yeah, when you look at all the other horses that have run and have the experience, she just kind of stands out as far as the numbers, and so makes sense on that front. She just has a little bit of an edge. Her most recent starts on the turf, they've both been competitive. They're probably expected to win just based on the public support in both those races. She came up short. Not quite the winning race, so it makes sense that they're going to take the drop. But she was also entered back for 62.50 on July 23rd. So they were going to run her a little bit lower, and I know there was a couple people that were looking to claim that day. A vet scratch, obviously mild, that she's coming back here. So maybe that leaves some room in there, but looking at what she's done so far, she comes into this race as a clear horse to beat.
Yeah, and I thought she was going to be the winner in that last out on the turf. Secret Operation ran a really nice race coming on for that victory. So see how things unfold. I think she's on the gas from the get-go. I do think she takes them the whole way around, but again, you're looking at 2 to 5. So you have to determine where you can find some value. Now, maybe value in here comes with a couple of other horses. I know you mentioned the 2. That's Bonita de Oro in here, so we'll look to that one next. This one from the barn of trainer Brian Cook. Abel Liscano in the saddle. You get a look at that one right there in the walking ring. Currently sitting at 16 to 1 on the board, so you're definitely going to get a little bit of price return here for this runner.
Yeah, and pretty much that's the idea, knowing that Be My Bestie is going to be short. If Be My Bestie has the edge over the others that we've kind of seen. As far as Bonita de Oro, you can't really bet her off those 2 races, but you're just assuming that with all the changes coming in today, that she's completely different. Prior to her Ellis debut last August, they had been looking to get her on the turf. 2 races that were scratched when the races came off the turf. They ended up running on the dirt, probably just needed to get a race. Then they popped on the turf on October 13th at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Obviously something went wrong that day because of the 293-day layoff that followed. So it's really hard to take both those races. So now she has the time coming back into this race. They're getting to the turf. Everything's just kind of reset, and it just seems like if she is going to pop, this would be the time.
Sure.
And is the new face, is the one that's like the least exposed of the group.
And it may be worth taking a shot, especially with a 1 to 9 on the board, and this one sits at 21 to 1. So see what we get here out of Bonita de Oro. The one good thing is you are seeing a consistent workout pattern as well towards the return, and no front wraps or anything to look at either. 6 horse here is Get Out of My Kitchen. Get Out of My Kitchen at 12 to 1. Emmanuel Giles aboard for trainer Manny Perez. This one has run on the grass and run some okay races on the turf. The one thing I do like out of Get Out of My Kitchen is the horse can show a little bit of speed. So if you want to keep things honest up front, maybe this is one that can do so, but another one that was intended for turf in those last couple, and the races came off the grass and the horse stayed in. But I think this is a horse on the class drop that at least merits a look at 12 to 1.
She absolutely does, and I almost went in this direction, and I ended up not, and maybe that will turn out to be a little bit of a mistake, but her one Her one turf race back at Canterbury Park last September, she was heavily bet that day. It was a 15-1 morning line. She went off at 4-1 and had a little bit of an excuse in there. She was wide, she was on the duel, so not ideal overall. And then since then, they add the blinkers, they were looking for the turf, and they just haven't been able to get her back to what she wants to do. And this is what she wants to do. So I agree. I have her in the mix.
Yeah, I think she could be in the mix as well. The other one to touch on may be the 5. That's Miss High and Mighty, only for the fact the horse is 16-1, but has had some turf success. I mean, 21 starts on its career, so it's definitely hard to endorse on top. But at least you see a little bit of consistency over the course of those recent starts, hitting the board against maiden claiming company. And I could see Miss High and Mighty at least kind of getting up into the mix late and doing so at a decent price at 16-1.
Yeah, maybe for underneath.
Yep.
You know, tough to knock. Somebody's got to run underneath. It's just we've seen her. She really hasn't shown much progression or much a move forward or really any excuses along the way. So looking for a horse that's going to kind of step up. I don't think she's going to be that one. The 7, I could see people trying to land there,
sure.
and I tried to get there. I actually kind of gave her a look last out because I found some stats that Rivas had done good work with fillies, but I just couldn't back her off those visuals.
Yeah, and it's real hard to as well. We'll see what happens when they go on the track here. You do have a heavy favorite in this spot, though, as they walk out for race number 1. 50-cent pick 5 wagering. Good luck.
Coming on the track for the Wednesday opener, they'll go 5 furlongs on a turf course listed as firm with the rail set at 20 feet out. Scratch 1, Gladys Alice. That leaves a field of 7. No jockey changes, no overweights. Win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts. The rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, and the 50-cent pick 5. Turf firm, track fast. Parading here they are. 1 is Scratch, 2, Bonita D'Oro, Abel Liscano riding. 3 is Be My Bestie, Alexis Centeno. 4, Madeline Attack will be. 3 is Be My Bestie, Alexis Centeno. 4, Madeline Attack, Walter Rodriguez. 5, Miss High and Mighty, Ola Fernandez. Number 6, Get Out of My Kitchen, Emmanuel Giles aboard. 7, Gold Oak will be handled by Julio Felix. And number 8, Rain Attack, Bailey Weatherly is the rider. That's the field for the first. They'll be at the gate in about 5 minutes. Turf firm, rail set at 20 feet out. Dirt track is fast. We do urge you to make your selections early. Racing fans, little time remains for you to wager on today's first race here at Hawthorne. We're on the turf. Turf is firm, rail set at 20 feet out. Dirt track is fast today. First race starts, the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick threes, and the 50-cent pick five. Another reminder, we have the lowest take on the country right here at Hawthorne on your win, play, show wagers. We are close to starting time for race one. We do thank you for joining us, wherever it may be across the betting network. It's a beautiful day for racing here in the Chicagoland area. Now they're moving towards the gate for the first race, close to starting time. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race. First of 7 on the Wednesday program. Turf firm, track fast. Horses are entering the starting gate for the first at Hawthorne. Last two to go in, Miss High and Mighty and Rain Attack. Waiting now for Rain Attack, 5 furlongs, turf firm. They're all in the gate at Hawthorne. They're off. From the outside, Gold Oak out sharply for the lead. Then towards the inside, Be My Bestie. In between those two, Madeline Attack and Miss High and Mighty. Rain Attack moves up out there in 5th. In 6th, Get Out of My Kitchen. Trailing the field early, Bonita Dioro. And they move around the far turn. Gold Oak has the lead. Be My Bestie right there in 2nd. Then in between horses, Madeline Attack 3rd. Miss High and Mighty 3 wide 4th. 4 wide. Rain Attack is 5th. The top 5 covered by 6 lengths. And then it's 3 more back to Get Out of My Kitchen. Bonita Dior at the end. Around the turn, they're in the stretch. Be My Bestie now powers up to take the lead. Gold Oak trying to fight back along the rail, and Be My Bestie drifts in. Now Gold Oak switches to the 2-path. Moving in between horses in the blue cap. Here comes Get Out of My Kitchen. It's Be My Bestie, the leader. Gold Oak coming on again with Get Out of My Kitchen on the outside. Be My Bestie finished first. Gold Oak second. Then it was Get Out of My Kitchen. Bonita Dioro came from last to be fourth. In today's first race, 3, Be